Hey everybody, today we are joined with Mary Swanson from Lava Linens. We first saw their product out at Overland West Expo, and after talking with them for a little bit, I bought two of their flax fiber towels and asked them to be a guest on the show. These towels are fast absorbing, quick drying, and good for the environment. So now let's introduce Mary and learn how their towels are able to do all this, and what the inspiration for the company was, and how it all got started.
Hi, Mary. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your role at Lava Linens?
Yeah, hi, sure. So I am one of the co-founders at Lava Linens alongside my mom, Sheila, who has a background in textile design, and then my sister, Caitlin, who is a graphic designer. And my background is actually public health. So no, nothing like what we're doing here, but a lot of experience within project management and kind of like overall strategic planning. So that is more of my role within the company is a lot of the day-to-day work and then some of the big picture work and partnerships, things like that. Um, yeah, so we've been around since 2018, kind of just testing out the products on a smaller scale. And then within the last year and a half, we've really hit it hard, gotten more serious about it, and we're excited to be out and about.
And then in your own words, how would you best describe the company? What does Lava Linens do?
Yeah, so we craft hemp and flax adventure towels, and we just introduced picnic blankets as well. But they're really designed to be a more durable, higher performing, and more eco-friendly alternative to microfiber travel towels. So really designed to be alongside you for every type of adventure for many, many years.
And
When
so
when
oh, go ahead,
Mhm.
Jenny.
I was just want to ask how long ago did you launch the picnic uh, cloths? Because I just saw you guys at Overland West, and I don't believe you had them at that time, and that was just a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, so we did. We launched those along with our ultralight line of woven wonders. So it's the
Okay.
combination of the hemp and flax fibers that we make the ultralight towels with. And the mill that we work with is really fantastic up in Northern Ireland. Um, and we get to design like our very specific weight for the towels and the blankets, as well as our own weave design. So that's where we get the Desertscape pattern. And they had suggested that we add a blanket as well. So we thought we'd take them up on that, and they helped us design that.
So I
Nice.
want to go back to like a very basic question, and
Yeah.
that is, you're called Lava Linens, and so people often think of linen as like, you know, the thread count on of a cotton
Mhm.
sheet or something. They would think of that as linen, but I guess that's not actually the case, right?
Right. And that has been one of our biggest learnings is how much we need to talk about what linen actually is, in particular in the United States. So, linen, the fabric, is actually made of flax fibers. And so, linen made of flax has been around since about 8,000 BC. So, a
Oh,
very, very
wow.
long time. It was really the primary textile, even within the US for a long time. And so, that term, linens, referred to all of the textiles that were in the home that were flax. And so, that was an accurate statement. And then over time, the cotton gin was invented, and cotton became uh, the more popular textile within at least the US. But that term linens or linen still stuck around, but we kind of turned it into like this overarching term. So when we talk about linen, or if you ever see a product labeled linen, if they're accurate in their labeling, it is 100% flax fibers.
Okay.
Yep.
And what was the inspiration for the company?
Yeah. So let's see, back in, I think, 2014, my husband and I decided that we were going to travel for a year. And I had just thrown out a microfiber towel from a previous trip because it was stinky and I was just so tired of it. We didn't have any plans to travel at that time. So I chucked it and thought, I'm never again going to buy a microfiber towel. And then we planned this trip, and we were going to backpack for a year across a few different continents, all kinds of different climates. So clearly we had to pack really smartly. Um, So then there was that question of like, oh no, I don't have a towel. I really don't want to travel with another microfiber. So what material might we want instead? And as typical in my family, because my mom's background is in textile design, turned to her and said, and we had a conversation around like what would be ideal for a travel towel. So it needs to be lightweight, it needs to dry fast, we don't want it to get stinky over time, it needs to be really tough because I want it to last the entire year that we're out and about and doing all kinds of things. So it became pretty clear that linen of flax was the ideal material. So flax and hemp are the two strongest natural fiber textiles there are. And at the same time, they are naturally antimicrobial, unlike cotton. And they absorb more water per ounce of fiber than cotton. They also absorb more than microfiber, and they still dry really fast. Both of those fibers do. Hemp was not as available on the market around 2015 when we were looking to make a towel to take on the trip. So we opted for 100% linen. We made a couple towels. I think we were about a month into our trip, and I called my mom and I called my sister, Caitlin, and said, hey guys, these are really awesome. And we need to start making them for other people because we just knew of so many people who had had enough or just weren't satisfied with the alternatives on the market. So yeah, that's how it started. So that was traveling in 2016, and then 2017 was really finding the material that that was ideal for our first line. And then we went from there.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So I own two of your classic towels. I believe they're called classic towels,
Okay.
and they dry very quickly. Is
Mhm.
that is them drying fast due to the material, or is it the way it's woven?
So it's really because of the fibers, the
Okay.
properties of the fibers themselves. So the classic towel, what you have is the mid-weight French linen. And so it's made of flax, but both flax and hemp are hollow fibers. So that helps with the drying. The air moves through them faster. So flax and hemp are both absorbent and really good at wicking. And those are two different things. So like absorbing, is how much water they can take in. And then the wicking is how quickly and how effective they are at spreading that liquid across the textile. And so when you have that combination, then as the water dries, it continues to spread the hollow fibers with the air movement. It
Ah.
all becomes a pretty fast process. Whereas cotton is really absorbent, but not so great at wicking. And then microfiber, not so absorbent, but good at wicking.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, if you can kind of picture that in your head, but you can test it out at home too. So you can drop, a few drops of water on any towel and notice like how much it kind of stays in place, whether it disappears and absorbs like right in place, or if it just sits on top of the towel, or if it spreads out really fast. And then you kind of get an idea for what those two properties mean. Yeah.
And so is true linen or flax and
Mhm.
hemp, they're pretty easy to get in the United States?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, they are not. Since we've started, they've become easier. But there are not a lot of mills that weave natural fiber textiles in the US. And the majority of mills that do weaving only work with cotton.
Mm.
But that's changing. So we know of a couple of companies that we like and that we're looking to work with to introduce some other products within the US. The two mills that we work with, the one in France, they've been around for 200 years. Their farms are right next door to their mills. And so they have the equipment, they have like the artisan know-how. It's a pretty small footprint to be able to farm right there and produce right there. So And they manufacture somehow the softest mid-weight linen that we have found. And so, I mean, it took us a long time to find them. At least 6 months of getting samples from all over the world until we finally found this place and thought that's going to be who we work with for our first collection. And then similarly with the mill that we work with for our ultralight towels in Northern Ireland, the hemp and flax are pretty nearby as well. And then again, they've been around for over 100 years, I believe. So yeah, have the very technical looms available, and the craftsmanship to be able to weave complex designs that we ask them to do. So for now, that's making sense to us to work with those individuals, but we're getting excited at, every year we notice more and more availability of both hemp and linen in the US. Yeah, we're getting there.
Okay. And you've mentioned hemp a couple times now. So does the hemp and the flaxseed work together? Do you guys mix them, or do you have a hemp towel and then a flaxseed towel?
So what you have, which is the Everything Towel collection, the classic within that, those are 100% flax fiber. And then the Woven Wonders collection, let's see if I can figure out how to describe this, but so on a loom, you have the warp and the weft. And so one of those is the fibers going one direction, and then the other is the fibers going the other, so that you can weave them together. So what we have is the warp is linen or flax fiber, and the weft is the hemp fiber. And we added hemp mostly because it's fun.
Okay.
They're such similar fibers. Their performance is really similar. Hemp fibers tend to be a little bit longer than flax, but really not noticeably different performance-wise. But the other, I mean, it's kind of fun, and like we feel like it's kind of what Americans get excited about. And the other is that it's become easier to talk about linen when we can say it's very similar to hemp.
Okay.
For just communicating it instead of having to always discuss the difference between linen and cotton, and kind of what to expect from performance. But if we can compare it to hemp, that's easier to understand all those properties, I think. Yeah.
So
Okay.
are there any, it sounds like your materials are all natural.
Yes.
There's no like artificial materials in your towels?
Right. No synthetic materials. Yeah. And that
Synthetic,
was,
that's the word I was looking for.
yep. And that was very intentional. At first, when we started this company, it was really about, let's just produce something that works well. And so it was so clear that linen was the textile that we wanted to work with. And then the more we learned about it compared to microfiber, the more clear it became. The environmental benefits became so much clearer for linen over microfiber. So synthetic textiles are created from petroleum that is then woven it's plastic yarn that's created from petroleum. And so that's just not something that we're interested in doing. Not only does it increase the demand for petroleum, but the products, once they're finished and used and washed regularly, they shed microplastics, which we're finding everywhere. So in our soil, in our air, in our water, and
inside our bodies.
Inside our bodies. And yep, there are more and more studies coming out now that are starting to correlate some potential health issues with the microplastics that are within us. Yep.
I've never heard that term before, plastic yarn. Is that,
Yeah.
so is that the more common, I don't know, I've never even heard of plastic yarn before. Have you, Sean?
Yeah, well, I knew microfiber. It's made out of oil-based
I
material.
didn't know that.
So, yeah.
Yeah, so like polyester is a synthetic textile that's made from oil. So if you look really closely, sometimes it's woven which would be then like that plastic thread or yarn. And then sometimes it's more of like a pressed material, but regardless, it's essentially plastic. It's just they've found a way to like make it kind of fuzzy or soft feeling.
Interesting. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So even that loop, so one of the things, I
Yeah.
don't know if you hear this a lot or not, but one of the things that I really like about your towel is that you guys sew a loop in there, and I'm guessing that's also all natural. Was that something that you guys always did, or was that based off feedback? I like it because my wife and I RV a lot, and it's just easy that we can hang, like it makes it very simple to hang the towel onto a hook and not worry about it falling when we're traveling. I don't know, is that like something that came from customer feedback or something that you guys just did on your own?
That's something that we did on our own just because of our initial design and how we knew we were going to use them on our first trip. And that was hanging them from our backpacks or a tree or wherever. But we did so much like train travel. So, you get up in the morning, you do a quick shower, and then you've got to head out right away. And we didn't want to be packing a towel into our bag and getting all the other clothes wet. So we knew we wanted to be able to hang it for travel. And then, yeah, it just made sense to make sure that every towel has them. And we started adding more loops also. So like our Woven Wonders line, the bath sheet that we're creating now has 2 loops. So you can hang it for like a changing curtain, and people are finding all kinds of uses for it.
Nice.
And then same with like the picnic blankets, we do 4 loops. So you can stake the blanket in the ground, or you can tie it underneath the table to keep the table, like the blanket, in place while you're eating. Or if it's windy, you can hang it up as a shade sail at your campsite for a little extra shade. So we're trying to make products that are really versatile and just smart, easy to use.
Yeah,
Yep.
very easy. Yeah.
Yeah. Good. That's great to hear. And those
Yeah.
loops, yes, those are unbleached, undyed hemp straps. And those we actually source from the US.
Okay.
Mhm. Yep.
As far as testing goes, so like everything feels like crazy solid. Like the towel, everything, the loop is sewn on. It's very strong on there. How do you guys do testing as far as how do you know, I don't know, how much stitches does everything need? Like how do you know how many stitches that loop needs to be in there to hold, and how does your testing work?
Yeah, mostly it's just taking it out to the field and using it. And we just happen to know individuals who use their gear really hard, whether it's like their job, to be outside and building trails, or it's just somebody that is, yeah, really rough on their gear, and then getting feedback about that. And then it just helps. So my mom, Sheila, who designs the products, just her knowledge about all of that. So like even the stitch length matters. And then the hemp loops, we've reinforced those so that they are really going to stay there. I mean, yes. So
Okay.
they're designed to last a really long time. And we haven't had especially for the everything towels, that midweight, we have yet to receive a repair request because we offer lifetime repairs. Yeah, and haven't received one yet, and we know people are using them hard, so it's working so
That's
far.
good.
Yeah,
It's great that you haven't even received one yet. That's awesome.
yeah.
And you've been around for four almost 5 years.
2018. I know. I can't believe it's been that long, but yes. Yeah.
And just the name hemp to me makes it sound heavy for some reason.
Mm.
Are these towels heavy, or are they like you carried one backpacking, so I'm assuming there's not a lot of weight to
Right. So first, I hope there's not too much noise.
I'm
Uh,
starting to hear noise, but I don't know what it is.
I don't know what they're doing out there,
them.
but I feel like somebody's on our roof. We live in a townhome. Um, oh, they're cleaning the gutters. So
Ah,
let me know if it becomes too much.
okay.
I swear they already came by last week and did that. But so the weight of the towels, our initial line, is intentionally a mid-weight towel. And that's because we wanted to design something that was just very different from everything else out there. And to kind of push back on the idea that everything needs to be ultralight, because a lot of what we do outside, weight doesn't matter as much as performance.
Right.
If you're hanging out at a campsite or if you're traveling in your vehicle, it's as long as they're still packable, that matters more than the actual weight. So that line, I wouldn't suggest necessarily for backpacking, the Everything Towel mid-weight collection, unless you grab the mini, because that packs down really small, is plenty absorbent to dry your whole body off, but it doesn't offer enough coverage if you needed that. But then for the ultralight travelers, we introduced the Woven Wonders collection. So that is a much lighter weight weave, intentionally designed to take, on your long through hikes,
Okay.
or long backpacking trips, or anything that weight really matters. There's that option. Yeah.
Okay. I'll have to take a look at your Woven Wonders because my wife just said that she would like to get 2 more towels. We have 2 right now that we use in the house, and we've been transferring,
Yep.
back and forth from the house to the RV when we could take the RV out, and she would like to get 2 more towels, just dedicated dedicated towels for the RV. So I'll take a look at your Woven Wonder one. Maybe that would be the way to go for that. I was just thinking of getting the same ones that we already have. They don't feel heavy to me, and we're in a Class A RV, like where cargo capacity isn't really a huge deal. So I'll take a
Yep.
look at them though, because I'm curious. Are you guys? I'm sorry, did I cut you off?
No, I was just going to say, when weight doesn't matter, then it's really more about like the aesthetic, what you're looking for, whether you'd like a design or the solid color, and then what kind of hand feel you'd like. And so that mid-weight, you just feel it, and like this is a really high quality, it's going to last a long time material. That's really popular among overlanders, van lifers. Or are you looking for something that is lighter weight or has a really beautiful aesthetic with the desert pattern? And then that's when the Woven Wonders work. Yeah.
Okay. I think that brings us right into my next question, or our next question, is that I saw you at Overland West, and you just mentioned overlanders and outdoors. Is that your target audience? Is the overlanding community your target audience? And has anything like kind of surprised you that maybe, like me, I'm an RVer. Do you get a lot of feedback from RVers as well?
Yeah. So when we started, we did not recognize overlanders to be our target audience,
Oh,
but we do now.
okay.
So we've learned a lot. And our first overland event was actually Mountain West in Loveland, Colorado last fall. And they went over really well. And we have a lot of return customers. And that was when we had only that mid-weight line, which I do think is just an excellent fit. Because they also they work as a towel, but they also work for a smaller kind of throw blanket, which is nice to have extra of when you're traveling. And their weight too, you can throw them down on the ground and when you're on like a rocky surface, if you want to change your shoes at a trailhead or hang out, amongst kind of rocky areas along the water. So the versatility of those is really excellent for overlanders. But then we recognize we're kind of missing out on or we're just not providing a good product for the ultralight adventurers. And so that's when we brought in the Woven Wonders collection.
Okay.
Yep.
My wife hikes a lot, and she
Mhm.
has on her backpack, she has a microfiber towel clipped on the outside of her backpack, just like for sweat and stuff.
Yeah.
It's not a huge towel. It's just
Mhm.
a small towel that she has clipped on there. Do you also make stuff smaller than like towel size?
We have a hand towel
Oh, you do?
in the Woven Wonders collection. Yeah. So I think
Oh, okay.
it's your standard hand towel size, but it's 2.4 ounces. So you don't even
Oh,
notice you have it with
yeah.
you. And it has the loop so you can hang it. And it doubles really nicely as like a bandana, whether around your head or tied around your neck, or you can actually loop one of the corners through the other hemp loop around your neck. So really convenient in those ways too. So yeah, it's a really nice towel to take like day trips.
Mm-hmm.
Camp chefs really like them because they dry so fast. Yep. Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
had you had mentioned too about using a towel that you're able to throw it on the ground, change your shoes and stuff like that. Have you noticed that it made me think of our dog? Do you notice
Mm,
that people are using them for their dogs, like as a towel to lay down on the ground so that their dog's not like laying in the dirt, I guess?
yes. Yeah.
Okay.
We have people who come and say, I am buying specifically for my dog.
Okay.
And
Okay.
and we actually, so we have a Weimaraner um, and who has spent many years really running those trails with us. And what we started doing was dousing the towel when we'd get back from a run and laying it on whatever surface we were on, while we did our stretching and kind of recovery. But we'd lay it down and be nice, cool surface for her and kind of protect it a little bit cleaner. And then she would sprawl out there and just cool off. So really nice
Ah.
thing for her. But yeah, so the other thing is we designed these towels with a lot of intention. So there are things like you won't find a fringe edge on our towels like you do on some of the Turkish travel towels
Mhm.
because that collects dust and dirt and we don't want that.
Uh,
We also chose a really tight weave, partly because it adds durability. But the other is that tight, smooth weave repels dirt and debris. And so we have a lot of people who use these towels on their wet dogs too, because it gets them
Ah.
dry, gets all that gross stuff off, but then you don't pack a super like sandy, dirty towel back into your vehicle when you're heading back out. So yeah.
cool.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's
And you mentioned, sorry, go ahead, Sean.
my dog. He's got a lot of hair, and when I have to bathe him quite a bit because he gets in a lot of trouble,
Mhm.
chasing things, and the towels that we have now just don't absorb the
Mhm.
water very well for him. So I would think the way you're talking about the absorbency and the wicking
Yeah.
of your towels, it probably is much more effective on like long-haired pets.
Yeah, we just received a really nice message from somebody who was traveling, hmm, British Columbia, someplace. Oh, I'm not remembering where, but someplace wet, full of mosquitoes, took their two dogs. One is a Siberian Husky, and she just said, these are my absolute favorite towels for my dogs. And they do get in a lot of
Yeah.
as well. Yep. So really awesome to hear. Yeah.
And you mentioned that you would have hand towel size, or
Mhm.
you have towels that are hand towel sized. Am I saying
Mhm.
that right? Doesn't sound right to me, but
Yeah, we'll go with that.
okay. What other sizes do you have? What are what's the smallest towels? What are some of your largest ones?
Yeah, so for the midweight line, the everything towels, they come in the mini. We call it the mini. It's an oversized hand towel designed to like take on trips, traveling, jet setting. Um, so a little bit bigger than a hand towel intentionally, but not so big that it takes up too much space in your pack. So we have the mini, and then we have the classic, which is comparable to a bath towel. And then we have the luxe, which is comparable to a bath sheet. So those three sizes, yep.
Okay.
Okay.
And then with the woven wonders, we have the hand towel, which is your standard kind of kitchen or bath size hand towel. And then we have a bath sheet, which is about the same size as the luxe. So really designed a little bit bigger to be able to like take it to the beach and sprawl out on. And um, yeah, and then we have the blanket size, the picnic
Okay.
blanket. Yep.
Have Have you found that you have a bestseller, or do people buy them in different size, like paired, different sizes together?
Yeah, so the most popular are the duos, which then you get to decide, in the moment what you want to take with.
Mhm.
And we offer a little bit of a discount when you buy the duo. So the duo is either, with the everything towels, it's either a mini and a classic, so a mini and a bath towel, or the mini and the luxe, so a mini and a bath sheet. And then with the woven wonders, it's the same idea. It's a hand towel with the bath sheet, and then you get to decide. Yeah.
Okay.
And then some people are having some fun now that we have these two lines, and they might mix the ultralight desert hand towel with, like, say that's in gray, with a black luxe midweight. And they're stunning combinations. They're really cool looking.
Mm.
So then you have a little bit of both, like depending on what you're doing, you can have that flexibility.
And when you say the desert, that's the pattern?
Yeah, the Desertscape. Yep.
Desertscape. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I,
Hmm.
I think I did see that at the show. I almost picked that up, but then I
Yeah.
went with just solid colors. But
Yeah.
it's fun that you're able to include patterns woven in there because you're not using, I don't think, any type
Mhm.
of dye. So that pattern, when you sew that in, that's the actual, I guess, color of the material. And I would imagine that gets complicated to be able to get that to work.
Yeah. So the colors, and actually it's really fun to work with this mill in Northern Ireland. They've been around for so long and they just have access to a lot of things. Um, and a lot of, uh, there's a lot of opportunity to kind of design exactly what we'd like with them. Um, so we have this Desertscape design is part of the Woven Wonders collection. We're going to add more. We have an oceanscape planned.
Mm.
Um, Hopefully releasing that in the fall. And then we're going to do more of like a canoe kayak with fish design a little bit later. And each one of those will have a different run of colors too. Um, but the design is woven in there. So that means you need a pretty complex loom to be able to weave the patterns that we're asking for, and not everyone has that. So we were really excited to have found this mill. And then the other is that if you look really closely at the purple Desertscape and the orange Desertscape, the way we get that is one direction of the yarns is just an oyster, like a kind of cream color. And then the other direction of the yarns that you weave is a combination. So for the purple, it's a combination of like a pinkish red and a blue. And when you weave those two together, you get this purple.
Cool.
And then same with the orange, it's a combination of a yellow and like a reddish orange that you weave together, and then you have this really pretty like sherbety orange. It's yeah, so it's fun because you can kind of come up with your own colors, rather than just saying let's make it yellow because you have the yellow yarn and then you have a yellow towel. We wanted some unique colors, and then when you look really closely, you have a kind of a little bit more like texture look to it because you have that combination of colors. But then when you take a step back, then it's just more of that like solid orange color. But kind of fun for some of us.
Yeah, I think it's pretty
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, I it actually sounds somewhat complicated, and you guys could have
Yes.
probably very much so just kept your solid colors and said, hey, you know what, let's just run solid colors because it's nice and easy. I like that you guys are like maybe not challenging yourselves, but
Mhm.
making it a little bit fun for the consumer, even though it is an extra, who knows how many more extra steps it is for you guys to
Yeah.
do.
Yeah. Yep.
But I
Well,
think
and
that's cool.
and yeah, we're trying to do things that are just different. One of the really nice things is that when you weave a pattern, it's also reversible. So like on the front side, you have the dark orange background with a Desertscape design kind of in a lighter color. But when you flip it over, you have the light background, and then that orange really pops with the cacti and the sun. Um, yeah. Oh, one other thing I was going to mention. So we have the yarns are dyed before they're woven, but they are all Ecotex certified too. So good for the environment, which we comparatively, which is a priority of ours. Yeah.
Okay, nice.
Hmm.
Yeah, I didn't realize that the weaving part was so complicated, like the spacing between the fibers and everything. It seems like a very complex process that's probably mostly done manual still.
To a degree. And so now that COVID's kind of uh, slowing, we're really hoping to be able to go visit that mill and have it
Ah,
take a tour. We had planned to do that prior to COVID, and then things happened. So we didn't make it there. But um, we provide the pattern, they enter it into a system, and that kind of is digitized along with their looms. But there is still a lot of knowledge um, that has there's a lot of required knowledge amongst the employees at the mill to be able to kind of troubleshoot or recognize, how to make the design that we've envisioned in our heads actually work on the textile based on the loom's capabilities.
And did you have any, speaking of COVID, did you
Mhm.
have any like supply issues getting the materials from France and Ireland, or was that not such a big deal? Because I mean, I imagine there's a lot less stuff coming from Ireland and France than there is from China, which seem to have most of the problems.
Right. Yeah, I think we dodged a bullet a little bit there just because of where we were sourcing most of our material. We noticed a little bit of difficulty accessing hemp later on. So
Hmm.
that what we're seeing, which is exciting, is that more and more consumers are demanding natural fiber products, uh, including hemp, of course. And
Hmm.
so you have that increase in demand of hemp at the same time as kind of a decrease in production because you don't have workers to do the work
Yeah.
because of COVID. So for a little bit, we had a couple of things delayed. We had a restock delayed for a little bit, but it seems like that's starting to improve again. So nothing too challenging for us this time around.
That's good.
And
Mm-hmm.
you mentioned your warranty and that nobody has taken you guys up on that offer of the lifetime. Why?
Yeah.
I'm just curious. Why did you guys go with the lifetime instead of just making it like a 1 or 2 year warranty? Why was a lifetime important to you?
Yeah. Well, for one, we have all really appreciated other brands who have offered that lifetime warranty. So, like, I'm gonna throw out Rab. I had a winter coat that I just sent off to them because the zipper was broken. And I've been wearing that since 2011 maybe,
Ah,
but sent it off and they just put a new zipper in and had it back within like 2 weeks. And I just think that's awesome.
okay.
So we want to be that kind of company. And then the other is that it's kind of why not? It's a material, we know we're making a good product. We know it's really durable. And generally, it's the material is very repairable. So we want to keep those products in their life, like in your lives for a very long time, something that you really love. Um, so why not offer it? And you know what? The other thing is that, like, I think we all have some of our favorite gear, and every time you reach for that item, like all that nostalgia comes back from like
Hmm.
everything that all of the adventures that you
Oh
took with
yeah.
those items. And that's what we want with the towels too, is like every time you reach for it, you're gonna love reaching for it. And it brings back all of these other memories of like getting caught in the rain or having an awesome kayak, trip or, anything else. Yeah.
What about the name? Why lava linens?
Well, one, you can't go wrong with alliteration, right? um, but when I called my mom and sister, I was in the Atacama Desert. And so lavar uh, is the Spanish verb for to wash.
Ah,
Uh,
that's cool.
and yep, and then we were in the Atacama Desert, surrounded by all of this, land that was formed by volcanoes many, many years ago. And we were also just reminiscing on some of our favorite places. And so, like, my sister Caitlin just absolutely loves Hawaii. And of course, you think about lava and the volcanoes. And so many favorite places have clearly been formed by volcanoes and lava. And then linens, we were pretty particular about putting an S at the end to kind of like use that more general term because we knew we weren't going to only use flax, but we'd probably expand to other climate friendly plant fibers in our products. So yeah, lava linens won out. I can't even remember anymore what the alternatives were, but I think we all knew when we came up with that one, like that's good. We're going
That's a
with
good
it.
one. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
And I
are you guys only available through e-commerce, or if somebody wanted to look at your towels, what's the best
Mhm.
way for them to do it?
So we're in a couple of small stores. I would say generally right now, e-commerce, especially if you're looking for our everything towels, so the midweight collection. We will be in more stores soon. Our woven wonders will be in some other stores soon, but they're not yet. So online's really the way to go right now. That's what made most sense for us during the pandemic, and
Mm-hmm.
now and events. So like we will be at a big yoga festival in a couple of weeks. So that'll be our first yoga event. Uh, See how that goes, and then we'll be at Overland West in Loveland again this year. And then maybe a couple more van events. So we were just at Wind River Rally last weekend. Yeah, but we try to post those things on our Instagram, like where we're going to be and when. So you can come chat and kind of check out our towels in person and get an idea for, yeah, what will work for you.
And is Lava Linens, is that the name of your Instagram too?
Yes.
Okay. We'll put a link
Mm-hmm.
to it in our show notes so everybody
Oh,
has
great.
that. Yeah. And
Yeah.
also to your website. But
Okay. Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I believe that is all of our questions, unless there's
Okay.
anything that we might have missed or that you would like to add to the conversation.
Hmm. I think, yeah, I think that sounds good.
okay.
Feel like I talked a lot.
Well, thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, very informative. Really appreciate your time. We both really appreciate your time coming on here and explaining just the whole process, because I think a lot of people would just say it's a towel. How much could go into a towel? And obviously, a lot goes into it. So we really appreciate you taking the time coming on here and explaining everything to us.
Yeah, well, thank you. I appreciate it. When we first launched the company, we did quite a bit of market research, stopped at a lot of shops and said, like, here's our midweight towel. What do you think about it? And people didn't get it. They didn't understand and just they wanted the microfiber. And it's exciting because everyone's starting to get it now. And why use a synthetic textile when you have a climate friendly plant fiber textile that works better,
Yeah.
right? So that's what we're here for.
We want to thank Mary for coming on the show and telling us all about Lava Linens. We love companies that are practicing what they preach, especially with environmental sustainability. And speaking of that, don't forget about our sponsor, Battleborn Batteries. You can click the link below to see all the batteries they have to offer. Also, if you need a warranty for your RV, check out Wholesale Warranties. Again, the link is in the show notes below. Take care, everyone, and safe travels.